I'm Joe Screbbles, this is Matt Perslow. We have just had the pleasure of playing Moonbreaker, which is up there somewhere behind me. It is a new game from the creators of Subnautica Unknown Worlds, and it is a very different proposition. This is a digital tabletop strategy game. Little models that move around, you're getting them, units building armies, and you are painting them, which is the hook for me. But before we get into the painting, Matt, we went into this expecting this to be a Warhammer-style game, like quite detailed strategy stuff, but we came out feeling like this was more comparable to different kinds of games. Like, what did you think this compares to best?
I mean, it reminds me a lot of Hearthstone in many ways. What we've got is each of the miniatures that you're putting down, rather than the kind of complex systems that we'd expect from something like Warhammer, something like Infinity, those miniature systems. What you've actually got are miniatures that have an attack value, a defense value, and a couple of very specific abilities that are deployed using what is effectively a mana pool, which reminds me a lot of how Hearthstone does, but rather than it just being a card game, it's played in 3D physical space on a board. Basically, it's this digital board that they've built.
It's also playing like it's from a hand of cards as well. You draw units that are supposedly like being taken from a ship above the planet down to you. So you're using real card game like fundamentals to play this game. The other thing about it is not just fast-paced, it's small scale. You're not going to build an army. You have a maximum of 10 people in your army at any one time, and you can only have 6 maximum on the board. So what's going for is like aggressive play. They don't want you to mob people. They want you to be careful in using each of those units to their strengths efficiently and as quickly as possible. Like, it really feels like it's going to it's built for like a lot of games in a lot of time. It's worth pointing out there are going to be microtransactions in this game. They confirmed that to us. You can buy booster packs of models, again, closer to Hearthstone than Warhammer, where you're buying units you know about. Right now, it feels like the starter set is going to have enough for you to work with, but it will be interesting to see how that goes on. What is genuinely amazing, though, as we were saying before, is painting. Matt, you love painting a Warhammer model every now and then. How do you feel about this painting mode? What's it doing? What is it replicating real life painting, or is it offering more? How does this work?
So the thing that I was quite surprised about is I expected to be much more of a digital painting system, in which kind of like you'd have effectively Photoshop tools to use on a 3D model. It's actually not that at all. What it's basically doing is replicating at least the very basic elements of painting an actual miniature. So if you've done Warhammer or Infinity or anything like that, you are applying base coats on. You can then use a wash, which will drain into the recesses of the model and bring out kind of like your shadows. And then you can do highlights either with the brush to use like an edge highlighting and layering system, or you can even use a dry brush, which is a very, very easy technique to kind of brush over the model and bring out the highest points. And within quite literally a minute or two, we had painted this commander's gloves, and they genuinely looked like a really damn good paint job.
And that to me is the promise of Moonbreaker. Like, it's a good strategy game. It's a good idea for a like kind of a mixed card game, like strategy idea. But it's got this painting section. It feels like you can go on and off the boil a bit and go like, I want to play for a few hours, and then I'm going to come out, I'm just going to chill out for a little while. It's going to be great for streaming. I'm really excited about this, and it's early access quite soon, right?
Yeah, so they're looking towards the end of September the 29th, I believe, and that's when they're going to launch with effectively what, if you're into miniatures, you consider the starter box. It's got, I think they said 3 different kind of pre-built like groups in there, but also obviously these setups where you can mix and match, almost kind of like, reminded me a bit of the Covenant, the way they were suggesting that you build it, like lots of different creatures and army kind of generals and stuff from across different cultures.
It's one of the best things I've seen at Gamescom. I've absolutely loved Moonbreaker. I can't wait to see more. And for everything else from Gamescom, keep it locked to IGN.